My parents pleaded, "Don't go to Hawaii. The mortgage is overdue." So, I sent them $8,700. A week later, I found out from my uncle that my sister had secretly tagged everyone at a beach resort without me writing. Vacation without loser. So, I quietly did what they really didn't want me to do. I actually believed them. When my mom called, nearly hysterical, saying the mortgage was 2 months late and the bank was starting paperwork, I didn't even think to question it. She said they were drowning, that Dad's hours had been slashed, and that Lily wasn't handling it well. She said she cried every night, that they were afraid they'd lose the house. It all sounded desperate and real, and I believed it. I was exhausted. I had just gotten home from a 12-hour shift and hadn't even kicked off my shoes. I sat there listening while staring at the takeout I couldn't afford. My mom said they needed exactly $8,700 to stop the foreclosure and keep the lights on. I asked her twice if this was really what it was for. She swore on everything. Said they wouldn't ask if it wasn't life or death. Dad even got on the phone for 5 seconds just to say, "Thank you, honey. You're saving us." I wired the money the next morning. That was all I had saved. My Hawaii fund. I'd spent 2 years putting it together little by little. That trip was my light at the end of the tunnel. A week in Oahu alone. No responsibilities, no one needing anything from me. The plan was to leave in October. I had even bought a new suitcase, but they needed it more, right? So, I told myself it was okay, that family came first, that there'd be other trips. I went back to my routine, work, sleep, repeat. No mention from them about the money after the transfer. Not even a thank you. I figured they were overwhelmed. 6 days later, I was sorting laundry in the living room when I got a message from my Uncle Steve, the only relative I even halfway trust. It just said, "I figured you hadn't seen this. You should." It was a screenshot from Facebook, Lily's account, a private album that I was definitely not tagged in. It was photo after photo of them, my parents, Lily, her boyfriend, at a beachfront resort. Not just some cheap weekend trip, either. We're talking about one of those high-end places with infinity pools and private cabanas. They were wearing leis, holding tropical drinks, showing off spa treatments and seafood dinners. In one of the photos, Lily had posted a group shot with the caption, "Vacation without loser." Everyone in the family was tagged. Aunts, cousins, people I hadn't spoken to in years. Everyone but me. I read it 5 times thinking maybe I misunderstood. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. But it was. And they weren't even trying to hide it. That $8,700 didn't go to a mortgage. It went straight to a beachside suite and cocktails by the pool. I just sat there on the floor staring at the screen like an idiot. I wasn't even angry yet, just stunned. Like my brain couldn't wrap itself around it. I remembered the phone call, the fake panic in their voices, the way they guilt me like I was their last hope. And now this. That word burned into me. Boozer. It wasn't just a joke. It was targeted, deliberate. They thought it was funny. They thought I'd never find out. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I didn't even call them. I just sat in silence while something shifted inside me. They thought they got away with it. Thought I'd stay quiet like I always do. That I'd write it off as just family being family. But I'm done playing the nice one. I'm done letting them walk all over me. They took my vacation, so I'm going to take something from them. After I saw the pictures, I didn't call, didn't text, didn't say a word. I just sat with it for a day and let it sink in. Let myself accept the truth that I didn't want to believe. Not just about the money or the trip, but about who they really were. They lied to my face. They looked me in the eye, begged, said they were desperate, that the house was slipping away. And the whole time they were just planning a tropical vacation. And not only did they lie, they laughed about it. Called me a loser. That wasn't just a caption. That was them telling me exactly what they thought of me. I had to sit with that. Really feel it. And then I made a decision. They were going to pay for this. Not just emotionally, literally. The car was the obvious choice. A dark blue Honda Accord barely 2 years old. Dad's pride and joy. He babied that thing like it was made of gold. Wiped it down every weekend. Bragged about how he got it below market value. The funny part, I had the spare key. They gave it to me last year when I had to pick them up from the airport at 3 a.m. and never asked for it back. I checked. It was parked in the driveway while they were off snorkeling and posting mojitos on Facebook. So, I went and got it, took the bus across town, walked the last 5 blocks like I was out for a casual evening stroll, and slid into the driver's seat like I had every right to because I did. I didn't just drive it home. I filed for a new title. And the best part, my Uncle Steve helped. He's the only one in the family who sees them clearly. He came with me to the DMV, said if they want to report it stolen, they'll have to explain under oath where they really were when I supposedly stole it. He even laughed and said, "Let me know when you're ready to take the house next." 3 days later, they landed back home. I knew it the second my phone started blowing up. First, it was, "Mom, where's the car?" Then, "Lily, tell me you didn't actually take Dad's car. WTF is wrong with you?" Then, "Dad, Amy, call me right now." I let them stew for hours. I wanted the panic to settle in. Let them feel powerless for once. When I finally picked up, it was like a dam broke. My mom started yelling so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. She was shrieking about theft, betrayal. I couldn't believe they'd act like I hadn't just spent my entire vacation savings to save their home. Then Dad jumped in. Calmer, but worse, all passive-aggressive guilt-tripping, asking how I could be so petty and saying I'd misunderstood everything. I cut him off. I asked how the resort was, if the spa was worth stealing $8,700, if the champagne tasted sweeter with a side of betrayal. They went quiet. Then I told them what they didn't want to hear. I saw everything. I know you lied. You're lucky all I took was the car. And I hung up. That a few hours later Lily posted one of those passive-aggressive Instagram stories. Black screen. White text about fake family members and jealous losers who can't stand to see others happy. I screenshotted it and smiled. They still thought they had the upper hand, still thought they could twist the story and get sympathy. What they didn't know was I wasn't done with just the car. They had secrets. I knew them. I'd never used them before because I still had hope they'd change. But now, I was going to make sure they begged me to stop, and I wouldn't. After I hung up, they tried everything. Lily sent voice notes pretending to be calm, acting like she didn't understand why I was upset. My dad texted a paragraph that started, "We love you," and ended with nonsense about how family is complicated. My mom called. I ignored her, and then she texted, "You're hurting us more than you know, right?" I let them sit in it for 2 days. No replies, no explanations. The car was tangible. Suddenly this wasn't just money they pretended didn't exist. They could feel the loss, and they panicked. That was only the beginning. I dug through old messages, emails, even my mom's old Facebook posts. I made a list, every dirty thing they'd done, not just to me, but to others in the family. Things I'd never brought up because I was the peacekeeper. Like when they borrowed money from cousin Mia for Lily's textbooks, but spent it on Dad's gambling debt. Or when they guilt Aunt Sandra into signing over part of Grandpa's inheritance for emergency repairs, and then used it to build a patio and throw Lily's boyfriend a party. There were dozens of examples. I found receipts, timestamps, screenshots, everything. I wrote a draft. A calm, detailed post. No drama, just facts, names, dates, and numbers. I didn't need to exaggerate. The truth was damning enough, but I didn't post it yet. I sent it privately, first to my mom, then to Lily, then to my dad. I added a message, "You stole my money. You lied. You laughed at me. You can apologize and make this right, or this goes out to Facebook, to Reddit, to everyone. You choose." 5 minutes. That's how long it took. Mom called me sobbing. Real sobs this time, the scared kind. She asked what I wanted. I told her I wanted them to admit it. All of it. And not just to me, publicly. I wanted them to go on Facebook where they'd made that little loser joke and tell the truth. She begged me not to. Said it would humiliate them. Said people wouldn't understand. I said, I don't care. Lily, of course, sent some garbage response about how it was just a joke and that I was acting psychotic. She had the nerve to say I should have just talked to them like a normal person. I ignored her. Then I went a step further. I messaged my golden boy brother Brian, the favorite, the one who never helps or gives but gets worshipped just for showing up. I sent him the screenshots, everything. Told him I was done protecting them. Told him if he didn't want to be part of the fallout, he better stay quiet. He didn't even reply. Good. They were cornered now, and they knew it. I could feel the shift. No more fake guilt trips. No more gaslighting. Now it was just fear. The way they had made me feel for years, I was finally feeding it back to them. And I wasn't even close to done. I didn't expect them to apologize, not really, but I thought at least they'd go quiet. Maybe try to settle things privately. Maybe let the embarrassment sink in and come to me like adults. Instead, they did the exact opposite. The explosion happened in the extended family group chat, a thread I usually keep muted, too many forwarded memes, prayer chains, and birthday gifts. But that day I'm glad I checked. Out of nowhere, my mom dropped a message the size of a novel. She wrote that while they were away on a modest little break, I had snuck onto their property and stolen their only vehicle. She said I had become unstable, that I was paranoid and refusing to return it, and that they were in contact with legal counsel. She finished with a line that made my stomach turn. "We love Amy deeply, but this kind of behavior is a cry for help. Please be patient with her." A cry for help. I laughed out loud, then actually stood up in the middle of my living room because I couldn't sit still. They weren't just lying, they were setting the stage. They wanted to make me look crazy, mentally unraveling, so they could justify what they'd done and turn the rest of the family against me. That I didn't even have time to reply before Uncle Steve beat me to it. "Kathy, you sure you want to lie like that in a group chat?" He said he'd seen the receipts, including Lily's loser post, and then he dropped 3 screenshots into the chat. The first screenshot was their beach photo tagged everyone but me. The second was vacation without loser. The third was my $8,700 bank transfer, my name, their account. Silence. Then Aunt Mia asked if that's where her $3,000 went. Aunt Sandra chimed in about Grandpa's inheritance. Jenna added her story. One by one, the lies unraveled. Lily left the chat. My mom tried to backpedal, but it was too late. The family saw everything. Even Brian, the golden child, messaged me privately. He admitted they'd told him I donated the money, that I never wanted to travel. He finally believed me. For once, he was on my side. That's when I knew I had them. They tried to discredit me, paint me as unstable, flip the story before I could. But everyone saw the truth, and I hadn't even gone public yet. That I waited a week. No apologies, no attempts to fix it, just silence. So I gave them one last chance in the family chat. "You had a week to come clean. You chose silence." "I won't." No one replied. So I posted everything. Dates, screenshots, side-by-side photos of their beach trip, and my bank transfer. I told the whole story. How I sacrificed my Hawaii trip to save their house. How they mocked me. How they lied to others too. Calm, factual, undeniable. At first, nothing. Then the shares, the comments, the messages flooded in. People I hadn't spoken to in years reached out. Some apologized for believing lies about me. Others said they'd lived through the same. Most were furious for me. The comments got brutal. People reposted Lily's loser caption. Others called my family a cult. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. The truth was enough. I watched the reach grow. Shares, reposts, even people asking to put it on Reddit. By evening it was clear, no one was on their side. Lily vanished from social media. Mom locked her account. Dad disappeared. Then Brian called. He admitted they still didn't think they'd done anything wrong, just that I'd gone scorched earth. But for the first time, he believed me. I told him I sold the car, $10,000 flat, $1,500 ahead. He said I deserved it. Mom later sent a long message, spinning it all, still no apology. I left her on read and blocked them all, except Brian. 3 days later he showed up, asking me to return the money for closure. I told him no, the car was compensation, the post was restraint. I warned him I had a full notebook of proof, scanned and backed up, and if they came after me again, I'd release it all. He just nodded and said, "They're scared of you now." Good. That weekend I sold the car and booked a solo October trip, nicer Airbnb, direct flights, volcano tour. No family posts, no announcements. Just me. For once, the silence feels peaceful. They ruined themselves. I don't feel guilty. I was never the loser. I was their escape plan, and they lost me. Weeks later, I got a handwritten letter from my grandma. No guilt, no scolding, just quiet support. She said she read everything, understood now, and that I deserve peace, even if it's peace without them. I put the letter in my travel journal. She gets it.